Hey guys, this is Spartacus here, and welcome to another video where I got some Battlefield 1 gameplay here for you guys. I have not shown Battlefield gameplay in such a long time on my YouTube channel, and I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1 recently, and it's a very fun game. If you guys have not tried it out, even though it's been out for like almost a year now, I highly recommend it. It's a very good Battlefield game, and you guys should really try it out. It's a World War I first-person shooter game, so it's kind of interesting how it's a World War I game where normally video games take place in World War II, so I think it's a really good game, and I highly recommend to try it out, especially when you're playing with friends. It's very fun with friends. But the point is, in this video, my question is, what happened to the COD killer, right? Now, you're probably thinking, is the COD killer Battlefield, right? Well, actually, yes, I am kind of referring to Battlefield on this, but I'm also referring to Titanfall as well, which I'll talk about after I talk about Battlefield. So yeah, Battlefield is kind of like the COD killer. A lot of people out there are like those total bandwagoners, is how I see it, they're bandwagons, I should say, because to me, bandwagoners is just a made-up word I made up, but yeah, you get the point, right? Bandwagons, right? There's a lot of bandwagons out there, and a lot of them are like, oh, Battlefield's totally going to beat Call of Duty this year, you know? Like, they said that every year when a Battlefield game comes out, they say that. Like Battlefield 4, right? Which actually came out around the same time as Call of Duty Ghosts and Titanfall, with the very first Titanfall game. So yeah, a lot of people think that Battlefield is just so much better than Call of Duty. Like when you find a Battlefield fanboy, right? You come across a Battlefield fanboy, that Battlefield fanboy is totally gonna roast on Call of Duty. Like, Battlefield fanboys absolutely hate Call of Duty. I just never really understood why, you know? I never understood why Battlefield fanboys hate Call of Duty. I just never really understood it, I guess. But anyway, the point is, what happened to Battlefield 1, you know? I don't hear about Battlefield 1 anymore, which is so weird, you know? Like, I do follow some people on YouTube who post Battlefield gameplays and stuff like that, but I don't really watch them, you know? I'm a Call of Duty YouTuber. I love playing Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty almost every single day that I try to, like, have, right? I always try to play Call of Duty, and, you know, like, Call of Duty YouTubers, they also posted gameplay of Battlefield, like, when those games first come out, but then they don't, like, play them anymore, and the main reason why they don't actually make videos on Battlefield anymore is because they simply just don't get a lot of views on them, so they can't really make a lot of money, which is quite understandable in all honesty. But I don't make any money off YouTube, so I really wouldn't know exactly how the drastic changes are. So, but anyway, the point is that, no, I don't hear about Battlefield 1, you know? I know they update the game constantly, they add expansion packs to it to keep the game, like varieties going on in the game, and, like, just make it more interesting as the years go by, right? But, you know, I don't really hear about Battlefield 1 anymore. It's so weird, you know? Just all of a sudden, my friends just started playing it, so I thought I'd hop on with them, you know? Which I thought was very strange, you know? But Battlefield, I don't know. Battlefield's such a good game, you know, and it's a game, like, if Call of Duty didn't exist, I might actually just stick with Battlefield, because I am a first-person shooter kind of dude, and I think Battlefield is such a great game. But Call of Duty, the reason why it doesn't beat Call of Duty is because simply Call of Duty doesn't actually feel as clunky, and Call of Duty, like I've said before in previous videos, is a very simple game. Call of Duty, the concept of Call of Duty is super simple, where Battlefield looks way more complicated, you know? Like, Battlefield is definitely a lot more complicated game than Call of Duty, but, you know, that's just my own personal opinion. So that's what happened to Battlefield. What happened to Titanfall, right? Titanfall. Now, here's a little history lesson for you guys. So back in Call of Duty Ghosts, right? Back when Call of Duty Ghosts was like the most recent Call of Duty game, so that was like 2014. Gosh, it was such a long time ago, it feels like. But back then, when Call of Duty Ghosts first came out, that was also the same year when the PlayStation 4 came out and the Xbox One came out. So the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were considered like the new generation consoles, right? And Battlefield 4 also came out that year, same with Titanfall. Now, Titanfall was only an Xbox exclusive, right? And the thing was, it's really interesting. A lot of people thought Titanfall was going to be the COD killer. A lot of people thought that Titanfall was going to overrule the gaming industry and totally take over Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is always the #1 selling game every single year, except for that year, actually. But I'll talk about that in a little bit, which game actually became the most popular. So yeah, Call of Duty is always the #1 game every single year, except for Call of Duty Ghosts, that didn't actually get #1 spot for best-selling game. But Titanfall, what's really interesting, it was an Xbox exclusive game, yet everybody thought it was going to beat Call of Duty, where Call of Duty is played on 3 different platforms. It was played on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the PC, right? So how is Titanfall going to beat Call of Duty, right? You know, in all honesty, Xbox doesn't really have that many exclusive games that I find really interesting, you know? There's a lot of single-player exclusive games that the PlayStation has that I enjoy playing, but of course I haven't played on the PlayStation in such a long time, though, but on the PlayStation 3 exclusives, they were a lot better than the Xbox exclusives, in my personal opinion. Now, Titanfall, why did Titanfall flop, right? Everybody had all this hype for Titanfall, but yet it just completely went downhill. And what's the reason why? So a lot of YouTubers were posting closed beta gameplay of Titanfall, and it looked very, very fun. Like, all these Call of Duty YouTubers were posting Titanfall gameplay, and they're saying, man, this game is really, really fun, but they just didn't know if Call of Duty was going to beat it or something like that, you know? Like, no one really knew, because how good the game was actually played in the beta. Now, the problem was that there wasn't very many weapons in the beta, and so everybody is like, okay, so when the full game comes out, we'll have, like, more weaponry, right? Well, it turns out when the full game came out, that was all the guns, and a lot of people were a little bit disappointed by that, you know? Like, there wasn't very maps to play on, there just wasn't very many different guns to use, or very many different Titans. There was, like, only 3 different Titans to use, and people, like, after a week that the Titanfall first came out, people just stopped playing it, and it just totally died. Titanfall, like, totally just flopped to the ground, which was absolutely ridiculous. And you know, they made Titanfall 2, right? Which I do believe you're able to play that on the PC and the PlayStation 4. And the same thing happened to Titanfall 2, you know. They definitely fixed some things in Titanfall 2 to make it better than Titanfall 1, but it just still didn't, like, seem that much better than Titanfall 1, which is kind of sad in a way. But, you know, that's what happened to Titanfall, you know. Titanfall, it definitely was not even close to being the #1 best-selling game, I'll tell you that. And, you know, Battlefield definitely has potential to beat Call of Duty, but I just feel like that's never going to happen because, you know, Call of Duty is such a simple game where, like, Titanfall and Battlefield are a little bit more complicated video games, right? But I mean, all 3 of them are first-person shooters. They're just a little bit more complicated. But the #1 best-selling game back in 2014, so this is back when Call of Duty Ghosts came out, Battlefield 4, and of course Titanfall, right? What was the #1 best-selling game? If Call of Duty Ghosts didn't make it on the #1 list, which one did? It was Grand Theft Auto 5. And what's absolutely insane is that Grand Theft Auto is still popular to this day, you know? That game was made like 4 years ago, yet it is still a super popular game. And you know, I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5, like I bought the game as well, and I played a bunch with my friends, and I had tons of fun playing Grand Theft Auto 5, right? GTA 5 is such a great game, and I can kind of see why it makes it on the #1 list. But you know, even though Call of Duty didn't make it #1 on the list, and the reason for that being is actually because Call of Duty Ghosts actually didn't meet people's expectations just because it came out after Black Ops 2, which is probably considered one of the best Call of Duty games ever made. So, yeah, Grand Theft Auto beat every single game that year. It was the best-selling game, which is absolutely insane. But, you know, other than that year, Call of Duty has been the #1 best-selling game every single year, including Infinite Warfare. Even though Infinite Warfare was considered a terrible Call of Duty game to a lot of people, it still became the #1 best-selling game, and I think the main reason for that being is because a lot of people bought the Legacy Edition, which came with Modern Warfare Remastered, which of course is a really good Call of Duty game, right? So, yeah, you kind of have to just give and take right there. So, you know, what happened to the Call of Duty killers? Like, what happened to the COD killers? They just didn't happen to be better than Call of Duty, you know, and, you know, a lot of Call of Duty YouTubers, they don't post anymore because they're not as fun as Call of Duty. You know, Call of Duty, like, if you compare Call of Duty to Battlefield, when you play Call of Duty, I don't know if you guys noticed this, when you're playing the multiplayer, it just feels so much smoother in Call of Duty, where Battlefield, it feels kind of clunky and just not as smooth as Call of Duty, you know. That's probably one of the main reasons why a lot of people like Call of Duty better, is because the game actually feels a lot smoother than Battlefield. But that's just kind of my own personal opinion, because that's how I feel when I play those 2 games. But anyway, there you go, you guys. That is what happened to the COD killers. They just simply are just not better. Just not gonna be better than Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is probably always gonna be the best-selling game out there unless Respawn Entertainment can get their asses in gear and make a super good Titanfall game that can just somehow beat these Call of Duty franchise or even the Battlefield franchise. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a rating if you guys feel this video deserves, and of course, comment down below, what do you think of the COD killers? What do you guys think of Battlefield 1 and Titanfall? Do you think they have that those companies have the potential of making a game that will beat Call of Duty, or is it going to be the time of the year where Call of Duty just screws up again and they're just not going to get a lot of sales or something like that? I'm really curious about that, just so leave your comments down below in the comment section, and of course subscribe to my channel if you have not already for more Call of Duty videos later in the future, because I am mostly a Call of Duty YouTuber, and I shall catch you guys on another video later in the future.